name is Tom Vasel. Welcome to live Q&A. This is Saturday, September 24th, 2016. I don't normally do Q&As on Saturday. I think I've done it actually a couple weeks ago, but just this past Monday was so busy. In fact, I don't think I'm going to keep doing Q&As on Saturday because I usually like to do a lot of other things on Saturdays, but this time frame here in the middle of the day just happened to work for me at this point in time. So a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to Orlando this weekend, so I'm working today actually, getting reviews ready. Here's pieces from Galactic Rebellion, which I'll be reviewing next week, and I got some others. I'm also working on Board Game Breakfast today, and Weekend Review, and some other shows. And so I'm getting all that ready because I'm going up to Orlando. I'm taking my family there. We're going to hit Universal Studios up for a day or so. And I apologize, I'm not actually taking time off. Don't worry about that. I'm working. I've been working nonstop here so that I can. And so instead of taking my weekend off, I'm going to take those days off. I'm also tomorrow night. Jason has talked me. I hope I don't regret this. In going to the Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, and I'm really not a fan of horror stuff, so I will probably be weeping when you see me next. He's thinking maybe we should record, our reactions and stuff. I don't know. Oof. But I'm going, so we'll see what happens there. Anyhow, this is a live Q&A, so if you have questions, you can ask them in the comments below, and I will try to answer them. Because it is a Saturday, I fully expect that there will be fewer questions and different people there. So your chance of getting a question answered is higher. So let's get started. All right, Tom, will you give an Essen preview this year? Yes, we've already recorded part of that. We did our top 10 games we're looking forward to at Essen. You will see that posted later this week. And then we'll be doing some other smaller videos about Essen. So just look for several videos that are going up this week about Essen. I kept delaying it, not because I didn't want to do it, but because I wanted to get more information. It seems like Essen, they give out the least information about the games. I kept waiting to hear about new and more games. Another thing I did last night that was a lot of fun is I started Pandemic Legacy. Cool Stuff had a sale on Pandemic Legacy, so I snagged another copy to run through with my family. So Melody, Amy, Holly, and Laura are playing. I'm just kind of facilitating it, helping them go through, but not giving them any kind of spoilers or anything. In fact, there was one point where I was really worried they were going to make a bad decision at the beginning of the game. I can't say much more without spoiling things, but they had to make a decision. I thought, but they made a better decision than I had been worried about. But it's kind of fascinating to see them as time goes by. I think it's going to be interesting to see their reactions. A couple of them have never played Pandemic before, so they're learning Pandemic, and the rest are learning Pandemic Legacy as time goes by. The game Victorina has a character you can play based on the real-life occultist Aleister Crowley. Does that bother you, and would it influence your decision to play the game? I apologize, I don't actually know anything about that whole question. I don't know who Aleister Crowley is. I don't know anything about the game Victorina. Is Derek still with the Dice Tower? I haven't seen him in a while. Well, technically you're not supposed to see him because he is behind the scenes working on our editing and things like that. So you won't often see him at all. But yes, he's still here. His wife, the link on Twitter is the wrong one. Ooh, I better make the right link. Sorry about that. Sorry, wrong link. Here's me doing a Q&A live. Wonder if I can delete a tweet. I don't think that matters though. Well, I can delete a tweet. I guess I will. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, Derek's wife is in the hospital. She should be going home today. Had a kidney stone, and so he's been kind of busy this week in that regard. Have you ever been challenged to a game by a fan? If so, which one? Oh, I'm challenged all the time. People come up to me, I'll beat you at this. Oh, I can beat you at this. Oh, I can beat you at this. Yes, you probably can. More often than not, the challenges I don't like is when a designer comes up and goes, I challenge you to play this game. Usually there was no strategy in it. Let's play it. I'll show you their strategy. Oh, okay. No. Should I worry that Mechs and Millions will sell out within hours? I don't know, but I would imagine so. I really have a hard time imagining that it won't. I mean, they have 100 million players. I just can't imagine that it won't sell out that quickly. What is the best or my favorite game of this year? Well, I just recently did my top 10 of 2016. It's 40 Years of Great Gaming's 2016, so you can see a listing there. I fully expect that list to change by the end of the year. Maybe not a ton, but it will change, I bet some. Is there any chance of getting to do a video on Overpower? It was a favorite as a kid, and I still have a bunch of cards and would like to play again. I'll say there's a chance, but see, people would have a hard time getting it. I wonder who owns the rights to the game. Not the Marvel, but just the game Overpower. Because it was an interesting game, and I would like to see maybe that come back. Hey Tom, what are your thoughts on letting people win? Do you ever find yourself taking it easy on new players or letting them win so that they are more likely to play with you again? Well, I'll never tell in that regard, but I don't out and out let people win, but I may not play as hard as I possibly can against new players. And I don't care. I know that bothers some people tremendously. I just don't see that's a big deal. If I was playing, let's say, Kobe Bryant, or something, a great basketball player, or someone in a sport, and if they said I'm going to hold back a little bit to make it fair, I would be like, cool, that's good. That way I can actually get something done. What's your take on the paid previews? Like with the whole load brouhaha with Undead Viking and Nick. Well, I don't really. I don't know what their channels do. Paid previews are fine. I think a lot of people do them. We used to do them on the Dice Tower. I don't do them anymore, not because I think they're wrong. I think as long as you state right up, hey, this is a paid preview, fine. But I just stopped doing them because they were becoming too stressful for us and taking up time where we really wanted to review games. And if a channel is constantly doing paid previews, I can tell you right now, if you're doing paid previews on a channel, it is going to take away from the time from actual reviewed games. And a paid preview also doesn't let you trash a game when it's bad. So I want to be able to trash games when they're bad. So that's why we went to just reviews. I'm not saying we will never do paid previews in the future, but I think to do paid previews in the future, I would have to hire someone to do it full time. And that would be their job, would be to do paid previews. But I don't know who would play the games with them, because it wouldn't be me. Your opinion about Arkham Horror, the card game, looks very good. It does look good, but I don't have any other opinion other than that. It's an LCG, so I'll probably play the base game and then drop out unless it's absolutely amazing. I have not seen the game Thornwatch. Are you a rulebook reader or a how-to-play video watcher? Oh, I'm definitely a rulebook reader. I certainly like reading rulebooks. If you were to join a Captain Sonar tournament, who would be your teammates? Oh, that's a good question. All right, so who would I pick for my team? We'd have to have clear communication. I definitely would take Eric Summerer, for sure. I'm trying to think of all different people I saw play this. I would take Eric Summerer. I would take Marty Cannell and Eric Summerer and Derek Porter. That would be my team. One of you guys be doing a review on Target exclusive Evolution in the beginning? Probably. I think Z might have that one. I'm not sure. After the new edition of Mexica in 2015, do you think there will be a new edition of Tikal as well? I do not know at this point if such a thing will happen for sure. Have you tried the small expansion for Port Royale? Just one more contract. I have not. I don't think that ever came to America, but I would like to. And if I'm at Essen, this may be one I go out of my way to pick up, if it's there. What does a die say before he falls in a tower during the intro? Me, me, me. Nothing. Really, nothing. There's nothing. My girlfriend always beats me at games. Any tips? Sure. Just keep trying and don't worry if you lose. That's just really how I feel about these things. Or play games with more luck, I guess. Have you read much Steinbeck? I have not. What's your favorite Formula D map? The one that uses 2 boards. Also, one of the expansions for Formula D had like a really wide section at the beginning. I really like that one too. I don't remember what the names of these are. I'm sorry. What's a good gateway type game for Zombicide type games? Games with minis and multiple actions per turn, which can be overwhelming. Well, Zombicide's kind of a good gateway itself. Zombicide Black Plague is not a bad one in that regard. Man, I don't know what would be a good gateway game. I'm sure I do know, and my mind is going blank on that. I'll have to think on that. I'm not sure what the good gateway dungeon crawl type thing would be, because that's what Zombicide is. Can we expect more live play soon? Would love to see Project Elite in action. That would be an interesting one to play. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I really, really hate live plays. There's a lot of problems with them. Someone needs to run the cameras and the comments, and there's lots of things that can go wrong. And any little thing that happens, let's say, for example, we argue over a rule. Well, in real life, arguing over a rule is not that big of a deal, but on video, it just looks mean and nasty. Watch reality shows. The people in those shows always look like horrific people. But they're probably not, but everything is magnified on the screen, and I'm not as big of a fan of that. Project Elite would definitely be a fun one to watch live. And then there's also the rules errors, too. Any little rules error you make is magnifying. People are like, man, these people do not know how to play games. Oh, I thought we were playing it right. Let's see here. When making your 40 years of games and alphabet list, did you play any games you hadn't played in a long time to see if they still hold up? No, I just went by the games I know and play. I'm not going back and playing hundreds of games just to make those lists. I apologize. I'm currently doing my top 100 of all time. That's going up. I think another installment goes up tomorrow, and then 2 more next week. But I think that I have 3 more series planned after this is done. I'm going to do Better Than a series where I say, do you like Scrabble? Fantastic. Here's some games that if you like Scrabble, you'll like these. And then I'm also going to do Best of Designers and Best of Publishers lists. Let's see. Did you ever review or play the games Gnomes of Zavendor, Mines of Zavendor, Scepter of Zavendor? Definitely have played Scepter of Zavendor, which I liked. It was an engine building game, but I probably wouldn't play it today because it was kind of slow and has a runaway leader problem, I think. Those are my remembrances of it. Would you say Blood Rage is the game the 3 of you guys agree with the most? The top 10 games you all think are great. Well, you probably can figure those out by watching our list. That would be like a list of games that we've already talked about consistently. Maybe we'll do that at some point. Do you know if there's going to be any more expansions for And Wonder, the original game? I don't even know what that means. 7 Wonders, maybe you mean? Yep, and is on the ampersand is above the 7. 7 Wonders, the original game. You know, they had 7 expansions planned for it. I haven't heard of one. I think they were planning to put one out last year, but it put out 7 Wonders, the Duel instead, and that was so popular that the expansion for that's coming out this year. Maybe we're done with 7 Wonders. I don't think it needs more expansions anyway. Hi, Tom. Do you know when the next Time Stories expansion will be released? Yeah, it's at Essen. The newest one is coming out there. What happened to Ryan Metzler? Well, incidentally, I just had an email with him and then said, hey, what's up? And he said for now, he's not in a place where he wants to review games. Just life got in the way and there's other things going on. He's not closing the door completely and he may come back in the future, just not right now. So I told him the door is always open. He was a fantastic reviewer, a great guy. I'd love to see more stuff from him. You won't see it in the near future. How much complexity is there to Le Havre? I want to get it, but the family's worried it will be too complex for them. I've heard the actions are simple. They play Ticket to Ride, Alhambra, Carcassonne, Alive. Well, it's a little more complex than those 3 games, but not that much more. Gameplay for Le Havre is actually pretty simple. It's the strategies behind it that are more in depth. It looks difficult, but a walkthrough, there might be some walkthrough videos on the internet that would be helpful in that regard. What do you think is the best and the worst named board game? Well, I think one of the worst named is The Game. That's just an awful name for a game. It sounds like a top 10 list. I think I do that sometimes, the top 10 best named games. Your new top 10 was very funny. Well, thank you. I really agonized over this top 10 because I didn't want it to come across as egotistical at all. I really didn't, because it's so easy for something like that to do that. So it was by nature going to be a funny list, because we're going to say, oh, I'm good at this game, and someone else will be like, no, you are not. So I appreciate that it came across that way, and I haven't got too much negative feedback on this particular list. Let's see here. With the amount of general online content, do you think games will continue to skew higher in ratings as people make their decisions before even buying or playing games? I don't think so, because I think there's a lot of new people coming in the hobby. Is there any way I can send you a hat? I'm never going to say no to that question. Email me at tomvasel@gmail.com. Someone sent me a hat for my birthday, so that was very nice. It was my purple hat, which is, it's too far away. I wore it to the zoo this morning. I went to the zoo to record Board Game Breakfast because Melody works there anyway. So I took her there, but I forgot my microphone of all things, the thing I'm wearing now. So I did not record Board Game Breakfast at the zoo, which was just as well, because apparently today is free zoo day. So it was totally crowded. Also extremely hot. What has caught your attention recently on Kickstarter? Well, know that I do not really follow board games on Kickstarter, so the last thing that caught my attention on Kickstarter was the turtle hat. All right, let's see here. What do you think of games like Monikers that is practically identical to Time's Up or Celebrities? Is it okay just to whole copy games and rename them? I don't know what games like Monikers is. Let's see if I can find that here somewhere. Oh, I see. Okay, it's just called Monikers. Yeah, basically, it's just another game that's like Time's Up. Well, I'm not a big fan of people copying other games, but the fact is that Time's Up was not really an original game. It was a game that people played already outside, and R&R Games took it and published it and added it, streamlined it a bit and made a really good list of names. Time's Up Title Recall is even better. So if someone else is copying that, it wasn't a tremendously original idea to begin with. I think it's a little cheesy maybe, but I'm not going to get that upset about it. Why wasn't Port Royale ever picked up for distribution in the U.S.? Seems weird given the quality of the game and the designer. That is a very good question. I hope to find out. I haven't been able to figure out how to win Kingsburg. Do you have any tips? Well, I've won some games at Kingsburg. I think you have to seriously, every turn, when you roll those dice, think, what am I getting for these dice? When you build the building, I mean, like, for example, you're like, ooh, that seems really cool. Yes, but could you get more if you split up? And can you possibly block someone else while taking things? Because a negative for someone else and a positive for me is better than just a positive for me. When building the buildings, find a focus as to what you're going to do with buildings and then follow that. I mean, if you're going to go for the cathedral, go for the cathedral. But if you're going to go for the trading thing or whatever, go for that. Don't like say, I built this building. These are the resources. I'll build this building now. No, don't do that. If you're going to go for a focus, follow that focus. Arcadia Quest seems easy for Gateway, possibly, but Arcadia Quest is not really a dungeon crawl. Oh, that new one. I'm not a huge fan of it, but Masmorra. Masmorra might be what you're looking for a Gateway dungeon crawl. Did you try Agricola Family Edition with any of your kids? Well, yes, I did. How did it play? It went fine. Would you recommend it for my 8-year-old who loves games? Possibly. I don't think it's that difficult. I think an 8-year-old could play it. Hey, Tom, what one piece of advice would you give someone facilitating a games night for the first time? Don't expect to have fun. That's really the truth of it. If you're facilitating a game night, your whole job is to make sure everyone coming is having a good time, which means if you're not playing, if one person's out of the game, it's you. If someone needs to make sure everyone's having a fantastic time, it's you. You're going to have to step up and make sure everyone else is having a good time, and it doesn't matter if you have a good time or not. You should enjoy the hosting aspect, which I'm sure is why you did it anyway. Have you ever had a chance to play an old game called Battle Masters with a giant mat as a board? Oh, very definitely. I really love Battle Masters, and I would love to see this one brought back. Which Ticket to Ride game map is best for 2 players? I don't know that any of them are best for 2 players. I'm sure people might argue, but I enjoy playing pretty much on all of them 2 players. How many games do you own? I don't know the exact number at any given point in time. I would like to say 350. That seems pretty close. When I get a new game in, I take a new game out. But sometimes one game will replace multiple games, and sometimes if I get rid of a game, I might take up a whole shelf, and then I have room for a lot of games. Or I might get a card game and not put a game out of my collection because the card game can fit in a corner somewhere. So from Rado to Vasel live. Oh, was Rado live this morning? I did not know that. I don't necessarily keep track of when people are live, so I'm not trying to cross other people going live. But at the same time, I don't know that I would say, oh, Rado's live, I'm gonna not do mine because he's doing his. I don't know if I would do that. I think that I would just make a schedule and we stick to it. Is Z's name a nickname? Well, yes. His full name is actually Zunyer. But Z is just a lot easier, and it's a pretty cool name to say, too. When is Welcome Back to the Dungeon coming out? Essen. I feel like I can say that for a lot of these questions when people say, when is something coming out? What's currently your personal ranking for games by Uwe Rosenberg? Do you like Le Havre or Caverna? And what place is a Feast for Odin right now? Well, you can probably know where Feast for Odin is because I did my top 100 this week, and if you watch 100 to 91, you'll find a Feast for Odin. As for the other 2, I think I'm going to leave that one up to my top 100 list. It's not too far off, and I don't want to spoil that, so I actually do rank one of them over the other-ish. You'll see. Okay. Is there any chance for Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne, to take position in Cosmic Encounter as your number 1? Oh, no. I enjoyed the game. It was fine, but there's no way it's replacing Cosmic for a lot of different reasons, but mostly doesn't have the variety that Cosmic has. When we did a TI3 live play, right now we're looking at second half of October. Unfortunately, one of the players that we had for the TI3 live play just wasn't able to make it in September. Are you going to come back in Montreal? Possibly. I don't have, I still haven't made my plans for next year. All I can tell you for next year is we're going to Gamma Trade Show in Vegas. We're going to Origins in Columbus. We are going to Gen Con in Indianapolis. We're going to Dice Tower Con in Orlando. We're doing the Dice Tower Cruise again. And we're going to Essen in Germany. That's all I know for sure. There are other little conventions and other maybe bigger conventions that we will be at over the course of the year, but I've not yet determined those. Let's see. Do you think Maximinians will bring any video gamer to our hobby? Oh, sure. I always think that these things are very possible. In fact, this is actually the topic of my board game breakfast coming out this Monday. But I think it is a very possibility, and I think it's a great thing. Is it worth ditching my copy of Kemet and replacing it with Cry Havoc? Well, that depends which one you like better. I don't know that I would get rid of. I'm keeping them both. Is there a chance of the review of The Gallerist? I believe I played The Gallerist and reviewed it. You can check that out on the channel. Did I do that one with Jason? If I didn't do it with Jason, I definitely played the game with Jason. I found a used copy of Grimoire. Saw your review in 2010. It was one of the best games of the year at the time of the review. Of course, that all depends on the time of the year, of course. But I still do enjoy Grimoire, and I believe I have a copy myself somewhere. Besides rating games with a basic 1 to 10, how do you decide to break them down even more, such as 6.5, 7.8, 9.2? I actually don't break them down more than just the 0.5s. I think of rating games mostly as, I've already said this, like 1 is awful, and 10 is the best, and everything else is in between. 5 or less is not good. So 5 is usually a game I'm like, oh man, it could have been good, but it's not, I'm sorry. 4 is like, oh yeah, blah. 3 is blah. 2 is ah, and then 1 is just unfathomable horror Cthulhu-ish. 6 is good, 7 is very good, 8 is great, 9 is amazing, and then just 0.5s are in between that. That's all. Do you have any plans of designing another game? Not currently. What do you think companies need to do to make the game length, number of players, etc. to be more accurate when they label the box? Well, I'm assuming number of players is accurate. I say that they're liars because they usually put like 5 players in a box and it shouldn't play with 5, but I know they're trying to sell it to people. As for game length, I don't know. I always say they're lying about the game length, but at the same time, they probably have it. That's what the game length should be, so... Any idea of when your mostly anticipated Essen games list will be up? Oh, that will be up later this week. Thursday or Friday, probably. Probably Friday. When are you going to consult with Valve to make a Dota 2 board game? I have not heard from Valve, so highly unlikely. I have not heard from any other company. That me consulting with Riot was possibly a one-time thing. I say possibly because if it happened again, I would say yes. Any company who asked me to consult, I would probably say yes because I like doing that sort of thing. As long as it's worth my time, I'm not probably going to do it for free because it is work to do it, but I did enjoy it. And man, when I went out there, I went to a deli there that was amazing. The best deli I think I've ever been to, and I honestly don't remember the name of it. It was in... was it in San Bernardino? I forget where it was, but it was just this amazing deli. Have you ever played Legends of the Five Rings? I have not, so I don't know what Fantasy Flight is going to do with it. What do you think about the D&D board games like Legends of Drizzt? I do like those games a lot. I have all of them. I believe you can see them right here. You can see one. Here's Legend of Drizzt. Here's Wrath of Shardlon. And then you can't see, but over here it says Temple of Elemental Evil. And in those, I also have Castle Ravenloft and whatever the other one was called. I have not played the Resident Evil deck builder game. My apologies. Have my thoughts on Tzolk'in changed over the years since my review? Since my review, I've not played Tzolk'in. I plan to play it at some point when it works. Did you get a review copy of the new Conan game yet? I have not seen or heard. I think they were sending me one. I believe they said that way back in the day, but I don't. If they did, I haven't gotten it yet. Is Kalis Magna Carta worth $60? I don't think so. It was a card game, basically. It was a small little game. I wouldn't pay $60 for it. What do you think of the board for the premium version of Kalis? I don't think I've seen the board for the premium version of Kalis. Speaking of that, though, has anyone here seen the new board for Kingsburg? Kingsburg is having a second edition come, or they're previewing it at Essen. And I was like, woo, that sounds interesting. I went and looked at the board, and I was like, what? It was so awful. So awful. They tried to make the game look like a boring Euro game. Wow, I couldn't believe how much I disliked the new board. When you have a large group of people for game nights, like 6+ people, do you split up and do different games at the same time or grab games to play with everyone? If I have my druthers, I'd rather split up. Sometimes a 6-player game works, but I can only play so many 6-player games in a row. The good, fun, meaty games are usually 4, maybe 5 players. And now if you have 7 players, definitely split up. Maybe play a 7-player game. But I like to split up and play these other games. I have never been in Scandinavia. No, I would like to go someday. It's on my list. Have you tried Tack by Pat Rothfuss and Cheap Ass Games? I believe James Ernest designed it. I don't believe Patrick designed the game. I think he had it in his books. But yes, I have played it. I played it with James Ernest at Origins, and no. Okay, I said I played it with him. I actually played against another party, but he was like puppet mastering them. I said, stop giving them moves. It's a very intriguing game. I was very impressed by it. I look forward to seeing it. It was a very good abstract game. I look forward to seeing the final copy. Sometimes if I skip a question, it's because it was asked earlier in this very Q&A. Is the Perfumer the next revolution in board gaming? Well, I haven't played the Perfumer yet. It's shown up, and I went through and we were sniffing the stuff in it. I don't think so. I think the sense of smell is an interesting idea to have in a board game. I think after a while that would get pretty old. I don't think it's going to happen. You're the new guy in charge of the DC Cinematic Universe. What 2 changes would you immediately make to improve the films? Easy. Okay? Take the old ones, throw them in the garbage, start ground zero. Hire everybody involved with the Justice League animated stuff and put them in charge of the movies. Easy peasy. The animated stuff is amazing. You know, if I don't know what else to watch, sometimes I'll be like, oh, was there a Justice League animated thing? Because they're really good. I forget the name of it. I just watched one. I don't know if it was on Netflix or Amazon. I don't remember. But it was about the origins. They basically had all the heroes meet each other for the first time. Superman and Shazam and Green Lantern and Batman and Wonder Woman. And it was really good. Really good. So that's what I would do. Have you or your kids seen Steven Universe? I have not. I keep meaning to, because when I went on a cruise last year with my family, I was like, oh, I need some games to download on my iPad to play on a cruise. And I downloaded Steven Universe, an RPG game, which was actually a pretty good RPG game. But it just got me interested in that universe, but I never then actually went and watched any of it. Let's see. The big box next to Splendor is Carcassonne the City. Do you ever resent having to consistently play new games for reviews that may or may not be good instead of games you know to enjoy? No, I like doing it. If I didn't like doing it, I would not have gotten reviewing in the first place. Have you played League of Legends since reviewing Mechs vs. Minions? No. In fact, I've never played League of Legends. When I was at Riot Games, they showed me a bit of the game. It's hard to miss there. It's on video screens all over the place being played. There's live games. It's amazing, right? So I watch it. It's a fascinating looking game. Honestly, though, it has zero interest for me because I don't like the concept of this person versus person, and it's not like against a computer. I'm not a big fan of playing other people online for a few reasons. One, I meet some jerks. But two, you have to know the game inside and out to be even remotely competitive. Even Hearthstone, which is a card game on the iOS, which I really like. I usually play against the computer. I play through solo adventures. I go online every once in a while. I'm playing. I get my butt handed to me. Now, for some people, that's a challenge, and you can slowly build up over time and learn and get better at these things. But for me, it just was like, I don't want to put that much effort into any one game. I would love to go and play these things on a super casual level, like, who else is a newbie? Me! Let's play each other! Yay! And that sounds fun. And in theory, that should work. And I've always seen these things. Like, I used to play Warcraft 2 online. And I'd be like, newbies only! I would make some sort of, online thing. And then some guy would come in who wasn't a newbie and would crush all of us. And it just, I don't know. Do you have any recommendations on the best way to organize a board game library? Sure. Shelf space. Make it look cool. What rating would you give the third edition in particular of Fury of Dracula? I want to say 7 or 7.5. That seems like what I gave it. Do you wish Privateer Press would make a new Omega Protocol? Why? Is the first one bad? It seems okay. Are all Essen games out, or are there some secret ones we can expect? Winky face says the question. I don't know about anything coming out of Essen that's a surprise. I don't think there is anything that I know of at this point. I think everything has been announced, but there's probably still more small. We're probably going to go there and find games we didn't hear of. But like I said, there's a huge list of games. In fact, I need to tell you guys about this. I'm looking for, you know, ways to find out about games at Essen, and one of the ways to find out about games at Essen, Eric Martin does a fantastic job of putting together a list for Essen on Board Game Geek. But I found this website, and the name of this part of the website, the website's called tabletoptogether.com. And on Tabletop Together, he has a Spiel Together thing, where you can go through and you can look at all the games coming out at Essen Spiel. I think there's like 640 games on his listing, with links to Board Game Geek and even to Eric Martin's list. And then it tells you information about them, whether it's going to be there or whether they're just showing it off. And then you can say how much you like it or want it or need it or ignore it. And then you can print off a list, which I have here. So I have here a whole list, and you can see there's pictures on the side. And this list that I printed off is done in order of location. This one here says Hall 1, and then row 10100, Mage Company, then 1A118, Cranio Creations. So I can take this and go in order around the hall. Tabletoptogether.com, I applaud you. I send people your way. That is an amazing thing. It's really cool. Of course, he's also working off of Eric Martin stuff, so we have to give kudos to Eric Martin from Board Game Geek too. But just a really neat situation. Very impressed with this. What would you consider to be the perfect hat? Probably the Indiana Jones style hat, the medium brimmed fedora type things, maybe. I think I like these the best. How many times would you play a game before recording a review about it? Enough. Have I ever done reviews with my wife? I'm not sure if I have or not. I don't think so. Are you planning on to review the new edition of Robinson Crusoe? I don't know that I'll do a review of it, but I'm definitely going to talk about the changes in the components and all that for sure. I was wondering whether you like Jigsaw because I saw the 40,320 piece puzzle. The 40,320 piece puzzle? Oh, the Ravensburger one. Okay, yeah. I saw a Ravensburger booth at Essen last year where they had a gigantic puzzle that people were building. And that's a really neat thing, and no, I'm not that interested in it. When I was a kid, my parents used to say, let's build a puzzle together as a family, and we'd all work on a puzzle, and I'm not opposed to spending time with family. That was not quality family time for me. I just did not like it that much. We had a good time, I guess, we're family, right? But, bleh. Because for me, jigsaw puzzle is not really a puzzle. See, I like puzzles. Like, ooh, how does this go together? Ooh, what does that do? A jigsaw puzzle is essentially separate them out in the colors and then just go, doesn't fit, doesn't fit, doesn't fit, fits, next. That's just not that interesting to me. Although, my wife likes building jigsaw puzzles a lot. So every time that she builds one, which isn't that often because we have kids, but every time she builds one, she'll build the whole thing, and I always steal 3 pieces out of the puzzle and hide them. Then when she's done, she's like, where are these pieces? And I come and I'll be like, we built this puzzle together as a couple. And I always, when people come to our house and they see a puzzle, I'll be like, yeah, we did that. Then she says, he did nothing about it. I'm like, oh, well, I did 3 pieces. Come on now, I helped. Do you do your own video editing, or do you have someone else who does it on your behalf? Derek Porter is my video editor for my reviews and for my top 100. I thought the top 100 this year looks really cool and professional. Derek did all that. I video edit Board Game Breakfast, Week in Review, and my new look back. And that's pretty much it. Right now, most of my time is spent doing reviews and videos. I do a lot of those. I also do a lot of administrative work on the Dice Tower, which is setting things up and working. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I never stop working in essence, but I do enjoy it, so I can't complain. Despite the budget, with your vision for the Dice Tower, how many more full-time positions do you see the Dice Tower growing into? What roles would you see being handed over to a dedicated person? That's a good question. The next step for me with the Dice Tower would be for us to get a dedicated space. My house is fine and I love working from home, but the Dice Tower needs a dedicated space. I've already done some preliminary looking into that. It is a lot more money and work than I had expected. It might be the stretch goal for the Dice Tower this year, like the main stretch goal. This is the one we're really striving for. So there's that. I wouldn't mind having another video editor. I think 2 video editors would be fantastic, working full-time, 2 video editors together. Derek is a video editor with an edge towards audio. I would like a video editor with an edge towards video, and having them work simultaneously together. But Derek's doing a great job. I'm just saying that of my druthers, I'd get that. And then I would like to hire another full-time reviewer after that. This is like way in the distant future, right? Eventually we would need a secretary, I think, would be after that. Someone to handle emails and help us just organize everything, for sure. Do you play games during the Super Bowl? Which ones? Wow. I'm usually not doing much during the Super Bowl. I go to bed. I don't really care that much about the Super Bowl. I know that's like anathema to people, but it's just not that big of a deal to me. I'm usually watching my Kickstarter at that point. When you were teaching in Korea, did you ever write a graduation play? I did! If you're talking about kindergarten graduations, I did write at least 1, maybe 2 of those. They were just like Goldilocks or Three Bears or the Vasel variation on those. That's been like 15 years though, so don't ask me. I don't remember what I wrote or did. If Rockstar, Bungie, Nintendo, etc. get into the board game scene, do you think they would change the board game landscape with their amount of capital they have? I don't think so unless they put out excellent games. Riot put out an excellent game. But the other games we've seen from the video game industry that have come from Nintendo, or like, for example, we saw the Mega Man game, which just was not very good at all. So if we see stuff like that, it's not going to change the landscape. We see some good stuff, like we're seeing Square Enix make some games. I hope they're good. If they are good, who knows? Why did I choose this time today? Because it's in the middle of the day. I planned to go to the zoo this morning, which I did go. So I said, when will I be back from the zoo? I'll jump in and do the live Q&A, and then the rest of the today I got to put together board game breakfast and a lot of other things. So it was really the best time. Also, it's lunchtime, as it is late enough here in Eastern Standard Time for people who wake up Pacific Standard Time that they can watch it in the morning, and it is time for people overseas to watch it. And the mid-afternoon is not good on the Saturdays usually. I picked 12:30. I would have picked 12, honestly, but I picked 12:30 because I wasn't sure I'd be back from the zoo by 12. So I hate starting late, so I did that. I could have actually started on 12, but it is what it is. Let's see. Has Codex replaced Mage for you? I'm going to have to let you watch my top 100 to find that out. Does Mechs vs. Mini make your top 10 of 2016 now that you've played it? Yes, and it's in my top 100 list. Again, you have to watch that to find out where it lands there. Let's see. What's your opinion on Killer Bunnies? It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I know it's not a good game, right? And yet I still enjoy it. Even though I know it's not a good game. Just because it's silly fun. I like the artwork. I like all the different things. I played it with like every expansion. I don't know how to explain it. There's not a good reason for me to like Killer Bunnies and not like Munchkin. There really is not. And yet I do. I don't play Killer Bunnies that much though either. Will you state how many times you played a game before your review? Oh no, I would never do that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I don't think it matters. Secondly, no matter what I said, it would irritate people. If I said I played the game 1 time, people would be like, only once, review about it. If I said 3 times, people would say, I would have to say like 20 times before anybody would be satisfied. And of course, they would only care on it if I'm negative. If I'm positive, I could say whatever I want on the review. But if I'm negative, then people will jump down my throat. So I don't do it. And and honestly, I have this philosophy, and it's not the nicest of philosophies, I guess, but the fact is, I believe that if you say, I need to know so I know if I can trust you or not, you weren't going to trust me anyway. You weren't. So I always tell people, I play a game enough. I play it till enough times. Now, it's never going to be enough in some people's eyes, and I can live with that. I just need to play it enough to know how to give you guys a good overview of the game. And so when you come and look, you know you're probably not seeing a review of a guy who knows the ins and outs and 20 plays of a game or whatever. You're not going to get that probably. But at the same time, I want to give you my feelings on the game so you can then look at all my reviews of the body of work and decide whether or not you want to try it based on that. My goal is to give you a good feel for the game, period. I looked at a lot of places, and Amazon seems to be the only place that sells Ice Cool, but for a ridiculous price and not seen on Cool Stuff Inc. Disappointed. Well, I would imagine that it's out of print. More will come back in print, I'm sure. It's a very, very popular game. I know they sold out at Gen Con, so I would just hang on and wait till more show up. The ones you see on Amazon are probably just from people who are scalping the game. Still waiting for Tom and Jason to play Twilight Struggle, maybe this year. I wouldn't plan on that. That might happen at some point, but probably. If you were ever to leave Florida, where would you most like to live? I don't really have an idea on that. I've always been of the opinion that wherever I am is a great place to live. It's amazing to me the number of people here in Florida who seem to hate living here in Florida. I love it. I walk out every morning and I see palm trees. I see a sunny sky. When it's raining, I can be like, everyone wait. Okay, it's done raining. Sure, there's things about Florida that aren't fantastic, but there's so many great things. If I lived somewhere else, I would find great things about that place too. The grass is always green on the other side of the fence, so I just am happy. I loved Korea. I loved Pennsylvania. I loved when I lived in Florida before, up in Pensacola area. You know, I don't know. Florida's a great place to live. I don't miss the winter at all, ever. Do you think TI4 will be announced sometime soon? I doubt it. If they did announce it, they would announce it at one of their big events, probably. Are all the games that review available in the U.S.? I saw your Time's Up expansions video and can't find them anywhere. That's weird. R&R games is a thing. I can't ever guarantee if something's available or not. I review games as I get them, and honestly, I could review it. It could be out of print immediately. It might not come out for a month or two. It's just very difficult. I've had people email me and say, can you just tell us if the game's in print or not? I can't. And even if I did in the video, that video wouldn't mean anything in a week or two. Maybe it would be wrong. So unfortunately, I can't. Here's my thing. If you watch a review, go look at, if you want the game, go get it right away. If you can't, then wait patiently for it. Tom, what's the difference between a CCG and an LCG and a deck builder? All right. CCG is a collectible card game. Also, many people call them trading card games, TCGs. This is a game where you buy randomized packs of cards. The set will come out. Multiple sets will usually come out for these. You buy randomized packs of cards. There's usually commons, uncommons, rares, legendaries, whatever. And then you build a deck and you play your deck against somebody else. An LCG is a living card game. Very similar concept where I build my deck and I play someone else with their deck. And these come out each month too, but they're not random. You know what there is. You can buy every card in the game. There is no rare cards. Every card is equally good. And then a deck building game is something completely different. That's a box where all the cards are there and you are all using these same cards and you are building the deck while playing the game. In LCGs and CCGs, you build the deck before playing the game. In a trading card game, you play it while you're playing the game. You're building the deck while you play the game. Is there any particular reason on the live playthroughs this week you played on the tabletop instead of in the recessed area? I think it was because I thought one of the games might need a little bit more room than the recessed area. I needed to clean the red cloth at some point, so I was like, I don't feel like doing that. I'm just going to cover it up. Sorry. Laziness, apparently. Are there many alligators in your region? Oh, there's probably tons, but they all live over in the Everglades. And the Everglades is like 10 miles from my house. Alligators do not go that far. I'm sure there might be a few alligators in the canals and streams around here. We don't go into canals and streams. The alligators don't come out of them. They do not go into people's yards and attack them or go into people's swimming pools. That's nonsense. In fact, I think they said like in the last 100 years, there's only been like 6 attacks of an alligator on a human being that was not caused by the human being. Just leave them alone. Now, where I live, there is an alligator farm that's pretty close to here. I think there's hundreds and hundreds of alligators there. It's pretty neat. And there's also the Everglades where you can see them in the wild. You can walk down these bridges and just see alligators everywhere. They do not bother you. You just leave them alone. And I'm still amazed that the one time I was in Cape Canaveral and we were on a bus and we were looking at all these space shuttles, and like there's where the Apollo 11 was launched, and then the guy's like, oh, and over here you can see an alligator. Everybody ran over to see this little alligator, and I thought, this is amazing. This is a one-of-a-kind place, and you want to see an alligator. But maybe I've been I'm immune to that now. What's my favorite expansion for Dice Masters? I want to say the Spider-Man one, maybe? Has anyone emailed you to tell you that they want to get together with you to play games or anything because they're in an area? Sure, I encourage people to do this all the time. Now, you have to realize that I will probably put you on my schedule, like I'll say, our meetup is here. I can't do many extra meetups, and sometimes I'm not available at a specific meetup. So, you know, there's that, and that's unfortunate. That happens a lot. Someone says, I'm coming this week. I'm like, oh, it's the week we're at Gen Con. I'm coming this week. Oh, that's when we're at Essen. But if you think you're going to be in an area, it doesn't hurt to email me and ask. Speaking of zoos, what are your favorite zoos? Honestly, I haven't been to that many zoos. I've been to all the zoos in Korea. Okay, my favorite zoo is the one I went to in Vietnam. Was it Vietnam? Yes, it was Vietnam. If only because my wife and I were completely fascinated that we saw monkeys in the cage that then climbed out of the cage and seemed to go around the park. And we thought that was kind of odd that no one seemed to care. Probably the best zoo we went to a zoo in Thailand, which was really an amazing zoo. The biggest surprise game of 2016 so far, probably Codex, because I just wasn't expecting it to be that amazing and it was really fun. Have I ever played fantasy football? I have, and I stopped playing fantasy football, and I'll tell you why. Because of the consistent, you have to do something every week. I played both kinds of fantasy football. Actually, let me rephrase that. I never played fantasy football with no, I did do it with the players once, although I like baseball better. Where you pick the players, and then each week, you know, you get points based on this and that. It was interesting, but So I said, there's just so much work. Someone said, it's easier, just do your picks each week for which team will win. Oh, okay, I can do that. I'm not even good at it, but I'm always of the opinion that just randomly guessing, or I can go online, see what the experts say, and copy them. I could do okay at these things. The problem is I would forget to do it one week, and then you lose all the games, and you fall behind in points, and it's not that interesting to me. What podcasts do you listen to? I listen to different podcasts on the Dice Tower Network. I just listen to random podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to Rado. I like the live Q&As that different people do on the internet, so I often will listen to them. I don't know why I like live Q&As so much. I just find them intriguing because they're usually off the cuff, which is why I do them. Do you think Battlelore 2.0 is done with expansions? I sure hope not. Hello, Thomas Aquinas Vasel. Huh. I haven't been called that in a while. Do I know you? If you weren't doing what you were doing now, what would you envision yourself doing? Probably teaching. Do you like hockey? I like playing it a lot. Watching it is okay. All right, is there a hobby you love to participate in that you just don't have time and or money to do right now? Yes, model railroading. I would love to have a whole model railroad set up in my house and I love to spend time working on the terrain and building it and having trains come in and out. I think that'd be really cool and a lot of fun, but I don't do that because I have children. And so when they leave my house someday, I will do that. And when they come back, their grandkids can be like, "Oh, look at that cool trains that Grandpa has." Yeah, but that's a long, and that's also a very expensive hobby. So at some point, I'll do that. I also would like to travel a little more. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get to travel a lot, because of the Dice Tower, but I go to conventions. I like to just travel and see sites with my wife, and we are counting down the years to that. 20 years. We're going to take a world trip. For my 60th birthday, how's that? I'm taking a world trip somewhere. I know a lot of people are asking about countries here. I don't do different games made in countries because it would be so hard to figure that information out. It would be so much work to put that together. And I don't know that that would actually mean anything to anybody. Have you considered making a Dice Tower magazine? Isn't that what the Dice Tower is, though? We're just a video magazine. That's what Board Game Breakfast is. I don't believe print magazines have any kind of longevity. They're not going to last much longer. Don't get me wrong, I like magazines a lot, but they aren't going to last very long in today's society. There's no Great Planet of the Apes board games? No. I went to Vietnam. How and why? Because there was a teacher conference, and the principal at my school picked me to go, which was very nice of them. I was very pleased. So I went with my wife. We got someone to watch our kids. We had a lot less at the time, and it was a really fascinating trip. I didn't know what to expect from Vietnam. I knew that it was a communist country. I didn't know Americans were even allowed in there. They weren't that strict on the, when we came in there as customs as I thought. We were able to go freely through Vietnam, and we didn't leave Ho Chi Minh City, but we walked around. We looked at markets. We went and visited a prison camp type museum where they showed some of the stuff from the Vietnam War. I really was just surprised at how much freedom we had to maneuver and look around there. So it was a very interesting, fun trip for us. Oh, we also went to some teaching things, and I did a how to use board games in the classroom. I always do that for when I went to these different things. You've said in the past you will guarantee a trader when you play Shadows over Camelot. Is that true for Dead of Winter? No, I don't guarantee the trader of Dead of Winter because I think Dead of Winter is already hardy enough. And the fact that people will often be given objectives that are traitorish looking, it makes it intriguing enough for me. Have you ever regretted hitting a game with the famous hammer? I don't think so. I really try not to destroy stuff. If you see me destroy a box, which I have done, it's usually an expansion box, and I was planning on putting everything in the base game. Is overproduced games a way for companies to put a higher price tag? I don't think so. I don't think companies overproduce a game so that they can charge more for it. They charge more for it because they overproduce the game. And they are making the game more overproduced, not so they can charge more money, but that more people will be interested in their game. Because the simple fact of the matter is, a small card game versus a very beautiful big game, my eyes are drawn to the big game. That's just the way it is. Did I catch up with questions? I really feel like I did catch up with questions. So we're getting close here to the end. Let me see if there's one more question that I will ask. What's the most unusual place you found board games? I apologize, I don't have a good answer for that. Do I have any pets? No, I do not have any pets. We used to have dogs. I've had fish in the past. I've killed more fish than most people own, unfortunately. Is there any chance of a Caverna expansions? Probably not. Mayfair told me they are not currently working on any. Okay, well, that looks like it is it for now. Looks like I caught up on questions. Don't forget, we got other stuff coming out this week. Come back, we got reviews and things going up in I guess some went up during the middle of this. Some reviews went up. And at 2 o'clock today, something's happening. Is it Chaz Marler's top 100 of all time, I think, is going to be going up in 30 minutes. So keep an eye out for that. My top 100 will be going up tomorrow. Just lots of cool stuff. Guys, I really appreciate you watching the Q&As and asking these questions. Really good questions today. So until next time, my name is Tom Vasel, and you have been watching The Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. So, okay, in summer. This guy cannot kiss you without poking you in the eye. Turn your face before we smooch. See you guys.